for the approval of the agenda and the approval of the meeting minutes. The agenda is pretty much the standard one that we always have.
Motion to approve the agenda.
Motion approved.
Second.
Second, all in favor, aye. Motion carries. Anyone get a chance to look at the meeting minutes?
I did. Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Are you okay with the meeting minutes?
I'm okay with that. Yep.
Okay. Alrighty, folks, welcome, all good, so meeting minutes are approved. We'll go right down to my chair's report. Hey, good afternoon, Britt. Alrighty, so, as you know, we usually hold our annual field trip in August. We had hoped to tour the Sandy resiliency work nearing completion at the train yards in Long Island City, but we found out that we have to take a 2-hour safety course online prior to our visit, and one wasn't available prior to our meeting date. Therefore, we decided just to hold a regular meeting in August, and we can schedule that field trip for a later date if there's enough interest.
We can follow up on that offline.
And actually, this was kind of fortuitous, because we don't have people for a quorum. We haven't had an official meeting in a while, so it kind of worked out in our favor. Okay, as you've probably heard or read, the MTA is going forward with the originally scheduled 4% increases for 2025. However, it looks like they won't take effect until January 1st, 2026, with the next 4% fare increase anticipated in mid-2027. As always, there will be fair hearings held prior to the formal vote on the increases. The proposed dates for these hearings are being held at 130 Livingston Street in Brooklyn, are Tuesday, August 19th from 6 to 10 p.m., Wednesday, August 20th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., and Wednesday, August 20th from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Along with the fare increases, the Long Island Railroad is looking to change the amount of time that tickets are valid from 6 months to 4 hours in an attempt to cut down on fare evasion that includes both e-tickets and paper tickets. While I strongly oppose this change, my opinion was never sought in this matter by the MTA, where I still serve as a non-voting board member, nor was I asked to weigh in on this issue by Newsday or News 12, despite 2 recent front-page stories. On a positive note, the seniors discount will soon be offered on AM peak trains, something that we've sought for many years. They are also proposing to do away with 10-trip tickets. Instead, after 10 off-peak or off-peak trips in 14 days, train time customers will get an 11th peak or off-peak one-way trip free. Round-trip tickets will be eliminated, replaced with a discounted day pass for unlimited travel. Details are available on the MTA's website. Long Island Railroad customers appear to be more satisfied with service at any time since the opening of Grand Central Madison in February of 2023. According to a survey taken in the spring of this year, 81% of the customers are satisfied overall with the railroad. This was the same percentage as in the fall of 2022, before Grand Central Madison. The main reasons for this improvement seem to be tied to 2 main points. One, serious attention to getting trains to hit Jamaica within 3 minutes of scheduled arrival time, which substantially cuts down on missed connections. Satisfaction of customers who needed the transfer rose from 50% to 69% within the last 2 years. Also, better service to Atlantic Avenue through trains to Brooklyn have increased from 4 to 13 trains, and wait times for the shuttle has been reduced to 8 minutes during rush hours. Regarding metrics, on-time performance remains strong at 96.5% year-to-date, and ridership is at 89% of pre-pandemic levels. And that's all I got for this month. Questions, comments, or?
I have some questions.
Sure.
The proposed ticket, one of them is to eliminate round-trip tickets and replace it with a discounted day pass for unlimited travel for the day.
Yeah.
Did they say if the cost of that would be more than the 2 round-trip tickets?
10% less.
10% less than two single tickets.
Okay. So in the end, it would be
A savings, and you could
ride it even more if you wanted, but
Right.
if you just took the round trip there and back, it would actually be 10% less.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
But I personally would just get on and off as many times as I could.
Make it per ride even cheaper?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but I don't think there'll be too many people taking advantage of, you know, an
No, but
unlimited day
if
pass.
it's 10% less,
I mean, you know, if you look at a city ticket for that,
yeah.
then that makes more sense, because then it's within, the stops are closer together, and then you're doing in the city. If you are, however, you know, going maybe to visit your friends, and just a few stops away from them, you may wanna do that, you're going to work one way or one, and one way back, then you just wanna either go home, maybe stop off on your way home.
Mhm.
And hop on and hop off.
That you're paying for 2 trips, whereas some people might hold that on the way home, maybe they'll get a free ride or something.
Right.
So I think you
Make an
guys
additional
should
stop.
get around it.
Yeah. My other question was regarding the survey results.
Oh, I'm sorry, let me just say,
Oh.
that's, going to be valid from 4 AM to 4 AM.
Today would count as for it.
Correct. But that's something that they did for, something they looked at during congestion pricing because of shift.
And then, just regarding the survey results, I don't remember seeing this in the past, but do they identify, when they report results, people that are going in and out of Penn Station versus people that are going in and out Grand Central, or people that are not even going into the city zone at all? Like, can you filter it in that way to say, I wanna see the results just based on people that are commuting in and out of Grand Central versus Penn Station? And if so, are the results different from people's feedback? And then I would say a third category, as I mentioned, is non-city zone, so people that are just navigating around Long Island.
Do we put that on open data or on a committee? If it's
Well,
just given to us?
It's in the, most of the, typically they'll report it in the board and committee meetings, and so the data itself is not public, but they will report out, they have broken it down before by station and origin, I think it's on the month and which meeting they're showing and what stories they're trying to tell. But that data definitely is collected, where people are originating, it usually asks for your most common station you're leaving from and most common station you're going
Destination.
to. And yes, the pairs. And so.
So then do they
definitely have-
compare those and say, okay, our customer who goes in and out of Grand Central is giving more favorable results than our customer that's going in and out of Penn? Or somebody who's not even going in the city?
They have shown that at least one board meeting past. I don't think I've seen it in a while, but it does exist.
And I think they compare Grand Central, historical to Grand Central current, Penn to Penn, and Atlantic to Atlantic, and maybe other pairs to other pairs. But Anna, I don't know if you have any more information on the deep dive into this customer satisfaction survey stuff. Anna, can you hear me?
Anna, we were asking you.
Anna, can you hear us?
No, yeah, sorry. Somebody had actually just walked in to talk to me real quick, so I'm so sorry about that. If you could repeat the question, so I apologize.
It's about the breakdown of, it's about breaking down the customer satisfaction survey results so that, we could, so, well, Brian, is, so basically.
Can you want me to repeat?
Yeah, yeah.
Can you compare the results of a rider who is using Penn Station versus a rider who's using Grand Central to see where better satisfaction is coming from? Or somebody who's going out of Brooklyn, or somebody who's just not a city zone person at all? Like, where are the more satisfied customers and where are the less satisfied customers? I think it would be beneficial for us to know those metrics.
Yeah, absolutely. I will reach out to our stations department to see if that data is something that we could share, possibly at the next meeting in September if we don't do that tour by then, or if there are going to be public results from the satisfaction survey that we can share the statistics of either during the next meeting, or that's something I can share with you all ahead of time.
All right, great, or if there's a link that has that, access to that, so if it's on an open data or somewhere within, I don't think, we haven't seen it on open data, but if there's access to where we can see that, because I think they do, just look at how Grand Central compares to itself and Penn compares to itself, and as soon as they took Wantagh out as a transfer point, everybody got happier, so.
Well, and I know in Jerry's statement here, it says Long Island Railroad customers appear to be more satisfied with service at times since the opening of Grand Central Madison in February 2023. So is it those customers that are going in and out of there that are creating the better satisfaction, or is it people that are going to Penn Station that are more satisfied because Grand Central opened and is like relieving some of the pressure that they were experiencing going in and out
I
of
think
Penn?
that's an overall number.
Oh,
That's the overall
Right.
number, what happened with it?
Right, that's why I'm
Yeah.
asking, but what's contributing to it? If we could look at the data I'm asking for, we could know.
There's,
Yes, that would be a request I would have to request to see.
there's a chart on, we can send this around also after the meeting from the presentation about it, where for the railroad, it shows overall satisfaction by western terminal destinations, and it shows the increase in the last, survey period, where it shows that, people going to Penn Station and Atlantic Terminal in Jamaica had the highest increase in satisfied passengers versus Grand Central Madison is, I think, satisfied, but they had the smallest increase over the last period. So that data exists, and we can send that to you.
It won't be granular,
No, that,
but it'd be
They
visual.
package it up in a more digestible way. That's a good.
So I've got, I got a couple more. I have a couple.
There you go.
In the past, am I wrong, didn't they have fair hearing hearings in each individual borough instead of just 3 in Brooklyn?
They had them, not only in every borough, but in every region. Remember coming out,
Right,
to Malvern?
yeah.
That's
But
what-
now they're just doing 3 in Brooklyn, that's really.
They're doing 3 in
inconvenient.
Brooklyn that are also hybrid, that, and they're doing pop-ups, that we don't know what that schedule is gonna be yet.
Okay.
And I don't know if you've got the pop-up schedule for the LIRR, or anywhere in the stations. That would happen in September, I think, is what we have heard. They're already accepting comments now online, or you can call them, or send a letter. But, these are, I would anticipate these would be long. They're both in-person and hybrid. They're 4 hours in length. And we'll be asking for your, assistance in participating as we have in the past. Again,
the date of the formal vote.
we don't know yet unless you, know the date. We've just heard the fall. I think it probably won't be September, because if the hearings are still happening, if the meetings are still happening
Well,
in
that's what I was
September.
curious about, like, how much time do we have to get more hearings scheduled based on the date of the vote?
I think that the mayor's raised it, several of the mayor's appointees on the board have raised it. I haven't heard other electeds raise it. Those would be the voices that would probably be the most effective ones for getting, hearings outside of the, Brooklyn, downtown Brooklyn. They're not even being held at 2 Broadway, because the, board conference room is under construction.
Another question I had is, in Jerry's report, which I saw, it said that, let me try to get the exact wording, senior discount is gonna be changing for round trip. Yet on the proposed changes, it says, seniors and customers and paratransit fare discount policies remain unchanged.
So that is, it's broken down in more detail on the MTA's web page. That's the page that was, that's part of the public notice that they have to post. And it does on that web page, which is a link in Jerry's report.
Right. If I saw that.
Was,
It does seem contradictory.
Yeah, because it
Yeah.
says it remains unchanged.
That's probably for the subways and buses and, right, I
Yeah.
assume, that specific phrase. But I know that on the actual website, there's this line that says.
There is on the one, yeah, because
Yeah.
I,
Yeah, that it's now.
okay, 'cause I saw that in Jerry's report earlier. and I
Yeah.
just saw this.
no, we're thrilled about that. We've been, as you know, fighting, and at the IBX event, actually, David from the governor's office came up to me and said, you saw we got that in, right? So I believe that the governor had something to do in that, with that as well. Long Island Railroad,
Not all of the proposals were on this sheet, I think this,
Yeah.
they have to post information. So the website is where to go for the real,
Yeah.
detailed information.
But why write there's no changes?
Yeah, it's kind of like,
If there's no more changes, then what details would be on the other
yeah,
side?
this doesn't talk about the 4%. So, actually, our bad, I had meant to, print out the other page that was the MTA, website, not the notice. So, that's on us. But if you follow that link, that will take you to the much more detailed, information.
And then I know we're fighting about the changing of the validity, whatever the tickets are valid for.
Validity.
Validity, thank you. The
Validity
4
period,
hours.
yeah.
There are people that buy tickets the night before, and that would screw that one up, too.
So, a question that, a couple questions about that. So, a point and then some questions. I mean, I have friends who buy tickets and put them in their wallet so that when they travel, they don't have to run. And they buy them with cash, because they either don't have access to a credit card or don't want to pay the fee. Or they don't want to have people know where they are. And, you know, we probably all know somebody or two like that. So those tickets will expire after 4 hours. And without a 10 trip, you won't have the ability to buy a 10 trip and just keep that with you anymore either. The question is there something that we would propose instead? And if so, what would it be?
If anything, I would even say 1 week, at minimum. I mean, if they wanna go with the 30 days, I mean, the other tickets are 30 days, so you stick with the 30 days.
Or 60?
Just four
But
hours is ridiculous.
How do you even buy a,
Because
I know they're going away from a round trip, but if I wanted to buy, I'm going to work and buy another ticket for coming back, I'm not gonna do that, I can't do that in the morning,
Right.
because I'm gonna be out for 9 hours.
Right, it's gonna force you to buy one then one later.
Yeah, or the day pass.
The paper tickets are also only 4 hours? I was, okay, so when I heard about this, it was presented mostly about the e-tickets, and I don't know if it's possible to maybe split the two and have the paper tickets be longer time, because I'm somewhat sympathetic to trying to end the whole, you know, ordeal of activating on the train. I think it's annoying for riders and conductors alike, but I don't see any reason why paper tickets have to be limited to 4 hours.
But especially if you don't have any other way to do it except pay cash per ride.
Yeah.
There'll be
Then
longer lines for
yeah.
people that are buying paper tickets, because
Yeah.
now you gotta buy it per segment of your
Yeah.
trip.
Mm-hmm.
The other, the other thing that was said was that, well, then, it's gonna be more people, playing the paper ticket game, hoping that they don't get collected, but then you have more.
You already have people playing that game.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a given.
so, hi,
I think maybe what, Lisa, if the staff can give us some time, or we get some input from our members, because doesn't matter if we just complain that we don't like it. Gotta give them an alternative.
give an alternative
Give them a
thing.
suggestion, say, we don't like it, we think this would be better.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna, if they move ahead with this, they're gonna go from, yes, there's fare evasion, but they're gonna go to now collecting money for tickets that were never used.
Yeah.
It's gonna be the extreme opposite.
right,
They're gonna have a windfall of money for tickets that were never redeemed.
talking
You'll
about
never know
the
if they're needed or not.
4-hour,
Well, they'll know,
get,
because they sold a ticket and it
Well,
wasn't
they sold the
scanned.
ticket, but if you
Yeah.
sold the ticket, they don't, there's no accounting for the number of tickets they take on the train.
because there's no more scanning, because they'll be automatically activated.
You know, so that, they'll have no idea if they're used or not.
Right.
Right, but
So
if your ticket, if you buy a ticket and then you get a ride, then you can't hold on to the ticket because it expires.
Even if you don't get a ride, you lose out.
Right, or,
Let's say you're
Right,
playing.
and to your point, there'll be no reporting of what I
Right.
just pointed out, of look at how much money we got and didn't even have to give somebody a ride. Versus, yes, it is the opposite now of people buying a ticket and not
Yeah, I mean,
using it.
I mean, look, I've seen more, free ticket taking, where they take it up at the platform level at Penn Station. I don't have a problem with that. It seems to work.
yeah. I went to City Field the other day, and there are a number of people who were like, oh my God, they're gonna take my ticket? Like, you just took a train, what do you think is gonna happen?
When it's packed.
Yeah.
We don't have a chance to collect it.
Yeah, so they just waited till everybody got off, and then people are scrambling to buy their tickets on the way out, but then, they still bought their tickets,
Right. But it's effective.
Then the other thing is the railroad needs to be sure that there's ample places to buy tickets.
Yeah.
One thing that Larry pointed
Like
out
my issue.
was, the Western Concourse, Penn Station.
There are no ticket machines there.
There are
There's
no
way-
ticket machines. When I raised the question, it was like, well, we're going, we're transferring over to another system, so when we do that, maybe we'll put a machine there,
It
but.
seems like the whole intention is to get everybody to buy e-tickets.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
But it's like 70% or 80% of people are on train time apparently now?
yeah. And I think that one of the other numbers that we saw was that 55% of people don't activate their tickets until they're on board. So,
Well, they're introducing an upcharge if you buy it last minute now, right? That's part of the
right.
proposal?
It will automatically know if you're on board the train and add an extra fee if you buy it on board.
So I heard, when I watched the presentation, there was a fair amount about warning riders about this and wanting to give sufficient flashing messages in train time to try to warn about that upcharge. But I feel like there was less about warning people about the 4-hour window period for like, especially for paper tickets.
yeah, it's gonna make things less convenient for our riders. It's,
Well, and you're also taking money from people who may not use their ticket. So not only is it less convenient, you're money grabbing and not providing the service.
Right, so we will, we'll reach out and we'll ask you all to provide us with your options and we'll brainstorm and come up with some too. We have, the hearings are on the 19th and 20th, so, it would also be helpful,
to
yeah,
develop, something that we can all agree on.
yep. And, I'm sure as you hear from people also, constructive input and opportunities for change, please let us know, because we've also heard the other things for them. So, yeah. It doesn't mean we won't continue to welcome that input, but constructive recommendations are things that we can pass on that may have a chance of,
For what it's worth, we have to support the unions, because they're opposed to this 4-hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made the front page of Newsday, day after they announced it.
Christopher has his hand
All
up
right.
here. Christopher?
Christopher, you got something for us?
Yeah, I just want to add one thing. There is one issue with the app tickets. There are times that when people are at Atlantic Tournament, they don't get a very good Wi-Fi. That was the other reason why they're trying to do that, to tell them to turn it automatically, because some people on their cell phones, and I'm only talking like the tunnel stations, like not Grand Central, because their Wi-Fi works fine, but some areas of Penn and definitely Atlantic Terminal, Brooklyn, they have a hard time to turn on their those machines on, and that's not MTA, it's their cell phone carrier. And it's funny because I look at them like, but you were warned this before you know what train you're going on. So if I'm going to track 1 and I know the train is there, I'm taking it, I'm turning it on, turn it on. But there's not everyone's paying close attention. And regarding reduced fare, just so everyone knows, I purchased a train ticket when I was at Bayside with a reduced fare price. I mean, not reduced fare, I'm sorry, but the city ticket. And there was no issue because they had Debbie and me reduced fare, but I still paid the city ticket. But what I'm seeing is on another train, like it's going into Nassau, like going to Jerry's End, and I'm just saying Jerry's End, I didn't say where end. I still purchased the train ticket on with the conductor. I still got the reduced fare price, not adding an additional charge. I only see that in the full fare. It needs to be more clearly what they're saying because it's misleading and some of the crews are not saying it correctly. And I know I brought this up to Anna already, and Anna and I know that not all conductors are reading their scripts very well. Thank you.
Yeah, and you make a good point about Wi-Fi at Penn Station. Once you hit a tunnel, there's no Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I remember years ago when they were making the new trains, we were asking why aren't they putting Wi-Fi in the new trains, and they said rather than them investing in an infrastructure for Wi-Fi, what they were doing was encouraging and inviting the cell phone carriers to add antennas or repeaters or whatever throughout the tunnels and throughout our transit system, so.
Yeah.
Right.
I know it's a big no to do Wi-Fi, because then MTA has to,
The problem-
maintain it.
You know, the problem with that was that they wanted so much money from the providers, from Verizon or T-Mobile, and then T-Mobile would only lock T-Mobile users to their service. So if you had a Verizon phone and T-Mobile was providing the Wi-Fi, you wouldn't be,
Right,
they
so-
weren't gonna open it up.
So, I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with what Chris is saying. So I know he was saying Wi-Fi, but it probably meant the cellular service. So is there more investment being made in the infrastructure for cellular service if they're literally, as we said before, encouraging people or forcing people to go to e-tickets because paper tickets is more inconvenient, and if you gotta buy your ticket within 4 hours, it's likely you're gonna be buying it like almost when you're at these stations
Yeah.
or getting to them, so they need,
Yep.
they need to get better cellular service in order for that.
There's oftentimes where I'm on the train and I'm like,
Oh,
try.
yeah, we brought.
I had that issue coming out today.
Yeah.
I thought it was just my phone, but maybe not.
No,
Yeah,
it's
no.
not. It's not. Well, Bolden Networks has been doing a lot of wiring of the subways.
The G train, right?
They did the G, they do, within the tunnels, they do the subway stations. At the Grand Central, 63rd Street Tunnel is all wired because it's new. I think that if they're gonna do the tunnels, they need to do work in the tunnels to do that, and that probably takes overnight closures or some of that additional work. But while they're doing Atlantic closures now, they should probably be doing
Right,
some
well,
of that.
that's what I'm asking, is there any
That would be good.
plans that are in place or in the future to invest in the cellular infrastructure throughout
Yeah.
the railroad system? Because, again, we're at, would you say 80% is ticking? If they're going these ways of 4 hours and discouraging basically paper tickets, well, then you have to have a system that supports how you want people to buy a ticket.
Anna, maybe you can find out for us what the plans are and the timetable for wiring the tunnels for, wiring for wireless, wiring for Wi-Fi, wiring for cellular.
I could definitely look into that. I know this is something that has been brought up. Even I think that was probably one of the first questions I got when I first started here. I was almost a little over almost a year now. I know there's not any immediate plans, but I could definitely look into it to see if there's any upcoming conversations about that. But there's nothing that I've seen recently. But if there is, I'll definitely get back to you, Lisa.
Great, thank you, especially since they're doing the closures for Atlantic. It would seem like it's prime time to do some of that.
Okay, anybody else?
Okay, just while we're on fare changes,
Yeah.
say that, happy to see city ticket being made permanent, but disappointed that there's not a weekly option. So I'd be interested
Absolutely.
in following up on that.
We're interested in that, and fare capping on city ticket also. Yes, thank you.
All righty, before we move down to Anna's portion, Kara, can you just do a quick check? I see there's 5 things in the chat. I know one of them was a link that Chris gave us. Okay, so we're,
Yes, me, guilty as charged.
all right, no, we just wanted to be sure there weren't any questions in there.
Thank you.
All righty,
I'm
so,
monitoring the chat. There's nothing in there. I'll let you know.
oh, okay,
Okay.
appreciate it, thanks, Jess. All righty, so next up would be Anna. If you could just give us the updates.
Yeah, of course. Well, you saved me maybe like a couple minutes of talking about the fair hearings, because the majority of the talking points has really been discussed. I would just say the only things to add on is, as mentioned, you could register to speak as it is a hybrid meeting, and then you could also submit comments ahead of time. You can actually mail a letter to the MTA Government and Community Relations Office. Uh, um, oh, sorry, on the second at 2 Broadway. Sorry, at headquarters. I could send over that information. It actually is on one of the links that I provided in the chat. And I will actually be there both days and both the evening hours. So I'm sure I'll probably see some folks. Always happy to see folks in person. So yeah, that's
And
probably
know,
the gist of that.
is it appearance, if we register now, or just, is it first come, first serve in order of, signing up to attend and speak at a in-person?
I think that I'm not too sure. I think it's as of right now, there's only they're only taking registration for the folks that want to speak virtually. But I would have to, I'll let you know, Lisa, that I'm not too sure if most likely first come, first serve. Obviously, we'll accommodate folks with any, accessibility issues first, but accessibility requests first, but I'm not too sure about that, but I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Yes. So that was majority of my talking points from there. I did actually want to, before I go into my requested, remarks, I actually wanted to go back to a question that was asked at the last meeting, which was in regards to the trains from Atlantic to Jamaica. I'm not too sure if the person who asked me that question, but I know Chris mentioned this as well. So during the week, during Monday through Friday, it looks like there's only one train from each direction from Atlantic to Jamaica in the late morning. So that's the 10:17 to Jamaica and the 10:53 to Atlantic Terminal. And then before and after that window, there's a service average about 3 trains per hour. I actually found out that this is actually due to track inspection. So our engineering, which is federally mandated, so our engineering department, their teams are actually walking the tracks to inspect between Atlantic Terminal to Jamaica during that specific time frame. And this is an FRA requirement. So that's the reason for that gap in service at that time. As of right now, from what I was most recently told, this inspection is still taking place. So that gap of time will still be reflected in the timetable change that starts on September 2nd. So I just wanted to answer that question. I'm not too sure that
Got
person
it.
was on. I
Yeah,
know that
that was me last time. Thanks, Anna. So it sounds like, so this is something that is set to expire eventually, or is this an ongoing window
this
that's
is
gonna be in the schedule?
this is ongoing. Unless I am told otherwise, it's going to be ongoing for a while. But I did share the concerns between. I think I've been caught on that train as well, so I had to hop on I had to hop on something local. But I did share those concerns with folks at that time. So for future timetable changes.
Would you be able to look into any elaboration or consideration for any other time that this inspection could happen? It just seems to me that 10 to 11 a.m. is not an ideal time to have an hour-long gap if that could happen at, say, 3 or 4 a.m. instead.
I'll definitely look into that for the reason for that specific time frame. So I'll definitely let you know. I'll definitely share those remarks to folks on our end to see if there's any alternatives and if there is a date once the inspection is over. I definitely will share that with you as well.
Great, thanks.
Okay. So other than that, really excited that all our ADA projects are on time as of right now. There are no current outages scheduled. I would say the next outage will probably be to support the Forest Hills ADA project, which most likely will be towards the end of September. That's still being solidified as of right now, but there's no outages. I'll say outside of the 88 outages. I know that we have the East New York, I'm sorry, the Atlantic Terminal outage. That's this weekend, and then we have one more weekend next weekend, and that's for switch replacement. So that's outside of the 88 work. But I just wanted to flag that those 2 outages are the only ones as of right now. I'm really excited that the reopening of the 88 of the elevator at Auburndale is scheduled to be reopened at the beginning of September. I know that once we have a solidified date, that would be something that we will all be very excited to share. I definitely will invite folks if there is an anticipated event, but as of right now, we're just excited to see that elevator be reopened. Um, just to go quickly back to, I know this was mentioned during board, but I did want to flag about the timetable change that's effect on the 2nd of September. Really excited that the Greenport service, the midday service between Ronkonkoma and Greenport will be restored. I think the overnight service between Jamaica and Atlantic Terminal is going to be restored back to the 2023 levels. So that's something that's really exciting to be shared with folks. I know that was briefly mentioned during board. Yeah. And then I think we're going back, sorry, to go back, I know there was a bit of confusion there. For Ronkonkoma to the Greenpoint branches, there's going to be bus service that will replace train service between Ronkonkoma and Greenport during the midday and weekday periods. We're just going to be doing rail and tie replacements just to maintain a good state of good repair. I know that was shared during the board meeting.
When did that
So
start?
I'm sorry?
That's September?
Yes, yes, that would be in September. And I think that is the most of my updates. Always happy to do that. I know I was going to talk a little bit about the fair hearings, but I think we kind of, unfortunately for me, most of the most urgent items were definitely mentioned at the beginning. So if there's any questions, sorry for the confusion about the timetable change there, but I think that was the most of my updates. If there's any follow-up questions, I'm very open to them right now.
Well, if you could just do us one favor, if you could take back some of what you heard today to the powers that be, it would be greatly appreciated. Just this way, you know, when they see something official out of it, they're not blindsided, or where did this come from, you know, just, you know, this way you can monitor what our opinions and our feelings are, just to give them a little bit of a heads up, you know.
Absolutely, yes. Of course, I will do was taking notes while folks were discussing their concerns. But definitely will share that with folks as I do all the comments that I get from attending these meetings, which are very helpful. Oh, I did have one thing I wanted to flag. So I know for last month in July was the ADA Pride Month. Luckily, we were able to piggyback on a Meet Your Manager event at Bayside. So Chris and I actually were out there at an event. It was a very early morning. It was from like 6:30 to 8 a.m. We were at the Bayside station while folks were meeting their new branch leader, Rosina Morales. Folks were able to get some accessibility information as well as an opportunity to meet with myself, an accessibility advocate as well. It was pretty well attended, even though people were, a handful of people were running to get to their early morning trains. It was great to actually meet folks, and people actually really were happy to get an opportunity to speak to us. Even as well, outside of the Long Island Railroad, people actually got some of the Queens bus redesign network information. So it was actually a great opportunity to actually have the in-person opportunity to meet with folks. So that was something that was very exciting to have, to kind of say a goodbye to the ADA Pride Month. So hopefully we can do something like that. Maybe a couple of those next year. Just what that was kind of like a pilot program. And actually talking about pilot programs, this is something that was brought up with the ticket machines. I know that we actually are in the pilot program of our ticket machine upgrades. We're only in a handful of stations as of right now. We're going to be, I think there was only a handful that were installed at various locations. We're going to be looking into that data in the next couple of weeks, and then to do the full rollout of new ticket machines throughout our system. So once, I think probably at the next meeting, I can probably confirm which stations got which machines, and maybe we can piggyback on our tour that we were trying to do this month. Maybe we could start possibly at a specific station and head over to Long Island City, if that is something of interest, just to check out the new machines as a group. If that's of interest, please let me know.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions for Anna before we let her go?
Yeah, I have one more question about Atlantic Terminal, while we're thinking about it. Could you ask if there's ever been any consideration of additional departure boards within the subway fare zone at the station? I ask because currently, if you're entering directly from within the subway fare zone onto one of the platforms, there's one departure board, and it's in a hallway, and people go down the hallway and they wait to look at the board there, and it's sort of in the flow of people going between the B and the Q trains and the other trains. Meanwhile, there's a much larger area just to the south that people pass through, that it seems that departure boards could go there. That way people don't have to go and double back. I apologize for explaining this spatial thing visually or verbally, but
I've got it. That's fine.
okay, yeah, I would appreciate if you could ask if there's ever been any consideration of additional departure boards for the 6 platforms at Atlantic Terminal within the subway fare zone.
And if it would be helpful to meet there, then we can certainly help facilitate that.
Yeah, I definitely see if that is something that's possibly already has been discussed of interest, and get back to you. But if not, that maybe this can start a conversation at Atlantic Terminal.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, but I think Britt makes an excellent point. It's been a couple of years since I had to work out of Atlantic Avenue, but I remember, getting off the subway and trying to figure out what track I was at, And evidently, because the very limited amount of boards, the one small one, you always wind up going up the stairs into the main station to look, where you could be in that corridor, if you knew what track the train was gonna be on, you could be in that corridor and go right up directly to the train platform. So I think that's an excellent idea, if we could do something there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think it was a good suggestion. Possibly, maybe we can meet with some of the terminal folks at the station itself and see what specific areas would be of interest to have additional boards. So I definitely will share that is of interest of this group and see what's feasible in this capital plan or maybe in the future one.
And I know Chris has a question, but since Jerry said tracks, do we know when tracks is gonna open in Grand Central Madison? Because
Definitely
I
will
know
make
it
a
was
note of
supposed
that
to
to
be the
myself.
end of July, but I heard it was August now, and that could be where we, I don't know, start our end our field to track.
Add one onto the West
Yeah.
Atlantic Terminal.
End of the field trip, but yeah, that's.
Right, no, that's a good point. That's something to have defined. Right.
No,
Thanks.
these are,
No, these are
Jack's not here, he's on vacation, but somewhere he just went, Wetzel's pretzels.
no, that's a good fight, and I definitely will share that. So, but yeah, no, it seems like we're making our trip more of like a long, lengthy trips, a couple stops there. So that should be fun. We'll probably take the whole afternoon just going around to a couple places.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Lisa.
Chris has a question.
Yes, I do. First of all, thank you, Anna. One thing just to, add in, regarding the screens, just I want to know that, I did mention this in, I think it was in May or April, let's just say in the beginning of the year. Anna, I did mention this to Nick as well, and I did mention it to you. You know, we have, MTA Police has to put some wood on some of the screens because we have reported people were damaging those screens. That's including on the going to the walkway, which they call it the bulb. That glasses would have been seriously damaged, those screens. And actually, they did damage the one in Atlantic. MTA Police did catch them, but it's been taking a long time for them to get replaced. And I agree what he's saying, because it will be easier if those screens can be not just in the mall level or where the subway level, but also on the street level, because I don't see them anymore, because if a person's coming from where the elevator and staircases are, they used to have a screen there, but that one I know got seriously destroyed. So that one has never been replaced. And actually, that's almost 4 years from now. But also, Anna, when you do get a chance, when we do look at those new boxes, make sure the braille is on them too, because when they put these temporary use machines in, they always forget to put the braille on.
I remember you mentioned this to me when we were at Bayside, so I
Yeah.
appreciate that flag.
Oh, no, I wasn't talking about the station part. I was talking about the machine part. I just want
Yeah,
everyone to know.
yeah, no, I remember.
Yeah, that's also, I just want to be clear. And just so everyone know, Bayside Station looks beautiful. And yes, the coffee was good and the bagels were good. So I just want to add that down. I just want to add.
Eat the waterfalls the
I
other
was gonna
day?
say, was it dry?
Hey, I was there dry. Remember, that day was TRC. So I missed Niagara Falls from there, as well as I know Brain Neck had a worse flood there. But all I could say was, now the station got clean. Now it just needs a paint job now. And then we can say it looks magnificent again.
Definitely a request that was submitted. So yes, thanks,
Yeah.
Chris.
No problem. See you.
And no joking around, but, we do appreciate the efforts that the railroad made to get that line, the Port Washington line, back up and running. I know they were working overnight and, I think they had the first train go through there at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And that was phenomenal considering it was literally, flooded.
I believe service was resumed at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Service resumed at 5 a.m. So yes, our teams were great on scene. I know I think notifications went out a little after 10 p.m. But yes, really happy to see that service resumed after that for the morning peak. There were a couple of delays here and there, but for the most part, it was back on track.
Well, let the powers that be know that we appreciate that, 'cause, you know, we always complain about stuff, but sometimes, you know, you guys do some really good work, and you should be complimented for it.
Yeah.
Appreciate the
Alrighty.
kind words.
Anything else for Anna before we let her go?
Thank you, Anna.
All right, thanks so
Yeah.
much, Anna.
Thanks
This
for the
was
opportunity.
down to you, Lisa.
Thank you. Great, well, so we talked a bit about, testifying at the board hearing, so, we'll get that out to you, about some thoughts that we have, some thoughts asking you for your input and for your availability, and if you can join them in person or, remotely. So that.
What date is this?
The 19th and the 20th of August, because that's the most convenient time.
The way they wrote this public hearing, I'm not too optimistic that they're gonna make it at other locations or other dates, because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's in their public hearing already, that there's these 3 days, or these 2 days, these 3 sessions,
Yeah.
and all of them will be held in person in Livingston Street, so
Well, there's,
unless they're gonna put out another public hearing with all of this information again, I'm not too optimistic it would be beyond those 2 days.
we'll see. There's been a lot of pushback, depends who pushes whom.
Yeah.
We'll see. We are, however, thrilled about the proposed change to allow seniors, disabled, and Medicare eligible riders to use their discounts in the morning peak. It's been a long time coming. It's not an expensive bite at the apple, and it was kind of what we felt was a no-brainer. That just took a lot of pushing and pulling and tugging and lamenting. And you'd think that, I don't know, maybe we would have gotten some recognition for that, but they know who we are.
Yeah.
As I said, I was at the ribbon cutting. It was not really ribbon cutting. It was the announcement of contracts, being signed for the Interborough Express. Larry was there, as was the governor, and a number of other advocates, the MTA, the freight line that runs along that track, and it was a really nice event where they talked about what it will bring, including connections to 2 Long Island Railroad stations. What they didn't say there, but what I've heard otherwise, is relocation for one of the Long Island Railroad stations that it connects with. So we'll see how that pans out. There were no details because it hasn't been gone into design yet, but it's still in conceptual conversation. But it will be a game changer for a lot of people. PCAC staff, I'd like to take credit for it. I only take credit for picking the staff. And who also helped to select the intern, put out 3 reports in the month of July that were absolutely wonderful, looking at bus rapid transit, looking at ways to further improve the proposals around the city of Yassen. I don't know if you've seen either of those 2, but we'll be sure and get them to you, because they're the Charter Revision Commission are pretty city specific. They're on our website. And the other was around the survey that we did, looking at concerns and issues and rider experiences around Omni. You may have seen that because we got some, a little bit of pushback from the MTA for our quote-unquote tiny little survey, for a push poll, because they thought that we were trying to diminish and underplay what Omni is and compare it to the Metro card, which we were not. We're just talking about opportunities for further improving Omni as it's rolled out. And we talk about those going forward in opportunities to further improve fare, the fare changes coming up in a lot of ways. So you'll see those as we get to you before we put out our recommendations for some of the fare proposals, which are nothing new to any of you. You have seen them before. We continue to try to shed the person who has never been in this room, by working with the governor's office. We can't just say, we don't want you here, so you're gone. There are 3 official steps that can be taken. One of them is to ask the governor's office to remove them. One is to have the recommending elected official, have them be replaced, and the other is to, apparently a really big, official action that that the governor's office doesn't want to go through. So, I reached out again today to say, can you remove them? Can the recommending elected official just say you're gone and then worry about, replacement? How do we have to do this? And actually, he called me back while I was in here, so I'll continue to follow up with them so that we can.
Wasn't it clearly, or isn't it clearly outlined in the bylaws, the requirements for attendance?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, but that doesn't mean we can take them away. We can only remove an officer from their officerial position, but not a member because we don't appoint the members.
But our bylaws are the basis for our request to have it.
Right, yeah.
In May, we discussed maybe penning a letter or something. Is that still helpful?
So we did reach out to the, county executive's office in June and say, was it June, or in July, and say, once again, we don't have a quorum because so-and-so never even bothered to respond. Can you please do something about this? And I never heard back.
Has any certified letter or anything been sent to him?
A letter's been sent, phone calls, emails, not a nothing. So,
How do we even know the person is still living?
because, yeah, it's true. Jack,
Interesting
That's
point.
an interesting point.
Jack has offered to go to his house and hand deliver it, but
Has somebody done a welfare check on him to see if he is?
I have Googled his name and he has not shown up dead.
Pretty self-alive.
You know, we don't get the bounce backs from the dead, but yeah, that's always one of those things. As opposed to, I don't know, people in this building who called the dead guy and didn't get an answer, so they gave away our room.
Well,
For months.
it's,
For months.
it's not
Give
an
it my
adherence
name
to
and
our
phone number.
expectations and bylaws, but it's not like he's holding up a spot. There's other vacant
Yeah,
spots in
yeah.
the same county.
Right, but he was holding up quorums, and that meant that we weren't having official meetings.
Yeah, good point, yeah.
We are continuing to, so the authorizing legislation change that would allow us to have one name instead of 3 passed the
Recommendation.
Assembly this year and the Senate last year, recommendation. So Jack is working on seeing if that can be made into a chapter amendment so that it can just happen at the governor's level, in a big bill, just a big bill, no other language.
Yeah.
This needs to get letters from the sponsors on each side that say they have no objection to that. We probably just need one from, the borough president as well, because it would just make everybody's life easier. It looks like we are getting somebody from Queens soon, too.
Really?
So, yeah. Yep, I don't know who it is, but it's somebody from Southeast Queens,
For the community council or
for both.
for both? 'Cause I know you opened for somebody for
Yeah.
transit as well.
The transit I know, but they, have to put in 3 names for each, so that doesn't mean the
Yeah.
person that they want is the person that we get.
We're getting the county executive, this county to do that.
Yeah. And, that is really it. We will also, circle back to see about the field trip and rescheduling that, and it can either be a whole half day or, the LIC flood walls are really cool. It's a 165-year-old working train yard. They found a lot of artifacts in there, which delayed some of the work. And that's why it's just, what blows my mind that there can only be 5 trains a day, because those buildings, which I live in one, haven't been there for 165 years. So they should probably, work on an accommodating schedule for commuters and the residents.
That 2-hour required safety course, do you know if it has to be done in one
Yeah.
sitting, or can it be like?
It's a live
Oh,
interactive.
Oh, okay.
It's a track training, railroad training course, and it's an FRA requirement.
Okay, I didn't know if it was like a
No, it's not a.
webinar type, start it, continue later.
Will we have the training for a certain amount of, will it be valid for a certain amount of time after?
I think so.
Okay.
Don't step on the third rail.
We'll pile
Lay
up
down on the track.
Right.
Field trips.
This is a train car.
New time for that gap in service at Atlantic Terminal.
Yeah, right,
Um,
right, so then maybe we can do that walk.
And I got two questions for you, Lisa. Any word on our office stuff, our stuff that you framed?
We were talking about that today, and we're gonna, continue to follow up on that.
You know, the TV and all the other
Yep, no.
stuff?
If all else fails, we're gonna put in a claim, because we have the receipts for,
Most of it.
yeah.
And then, any move on your, on becoming a voting member? Is there any move on that?
Yeah, so that is also, something that we're continuing to pursue. That got farther this year than it has in the past. Jack is just like, Jack bounces farther than anybody I've ever met.
And is that for all three?
That's the
For
Senate.
Jerry, Andrew, and,
It passed the Senate.
yeah.
So the Assembly is where a lot of attention will be focused, and Jack and I are going to, be very, front and center at their conferences this year. For a lot of things. We're also looking to, make into some revisions for PCAC's overarching authorizing legislation that clarifies further what our role is, and really clarifies our independence, so that there's no, question about that.
I know it was only done in a joking manner, but, I mentioned that the other day at the board meeting, and I got a little rapid pushback.
Which part, the voting?
Well, when they had to actually go and, fetch,
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Grodnick so that we have a quorum, so that would have been an embarrassment. You know, if you don't have a meeting in August, then your July meeting, you can't meet the quorum.
To put forward the IBX vote, and,
And I mean, it was like, you know, slam bam, get him in, get him out, because he had to get back to his business. And it was just, and I mentioned, well, you know, if we counted towards quorum, you wouldn't have these problems.
well, you know,
Just trying to take advantage of a situation.
you know that the two of the people there only count as put together only count as a half a vote, so they shouldn't be counted toward, as a quorum either.
But they count towards quorum, they count as a full person. You know, it's really bizarre, the whole.
Yeah.
The whole thing's bizarre.
Carrie, wanna?
Yes. I have a brief social media report. Every month, bring up the same issue. There's always ongoing crowding on, peak trains this month, particularly on the Mineola and Ronkonkoma, lines around the system, mostly during both the AM and PM peaks. Second, there is dissatisfaction online about the fare changes, specifically about the 4-hour window policy. You notice that both the Long Island Railroad and Metro North posted the exact same post about the fare changes, and people on both railroads are, not happy about that 4-hour window, but, particularly on Long Island, it seems to have struck a nerve. So, as Lisa said, we're going to think about some proposals to help, fix that. Third, there were some issues with trains occasionally skipping stops, particularly Kew Gardens, without announcement or communication. Sometimes that was planned and then just not announced, but a couple of issues there was just making sure that riders knew when they were already on the train. And finally, Jerry mentioned this before, but there were a lot of service issues with the flooding and heavy rain on the Port Washington line, this month, highlighting the need for better resiliency and, flood prevention above ground, so that doesn't bleed over into the railroad's territory.
Thank you. I will say there was, one particular Mets game, it might be the David Wright game when his number was being retired, big day in Metland. For those of you who don't know, he's Derek Jeter of the Mets. But it was on a Saturday, and I suggested to my husband that we take the train, and he goes, "There's no trains. There's no trains out of Woodside." And I said, "What are you talking about? It's Saturday. There's no trains out of Woodside." And this was on a Friday, and I looked into it, and it was because of the work they were doing at Forest Hills. So they were canceling all the trains out of Woodside for the weekend. And, which is, there was no notice, really. There was no, the Mets had just sent something out that said everybody should take the train to this game. So I reached out and just said, you got to create a window. I got one answer that said, "No, sorry, we can't do it." And another answer that said, "Working on it, we'll get back to you." And they restored service for the hours for people to get there and people to leave, which is the right thing to do when you're looking at 47,000 people going to a baseball game. So,
Why did work at Forest Hills affect Woodside?
the outage to get the track to Woodside, goes through Forest Hills.
There is a switch just east of west of Forest Hills, so that doesn't apply.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know, but I'm thinking just because they're all Yankee fans.
Wow. Wow. Well, that Yankee gauntlet down there.
Okay,
You're just jealous because Metro North takes very good care of the Yankees.
yeah.
I've taken the train. In fact, that was one of the experiences where, I used to take the railroad and take Metro North, and it was great going to the games, transferring to Grand Central Madison, and it's, they know how to handle the crowds. They have enough trains there. You don't see big people punching up on the platforms. At least the times I went, it was excellent. I have to try that.
There was, when I ended up going to Woodside, and then I took the 7, and there was a young man in a wheelchair with 5 of his friends, and they're in the center of the 7 train platform looking around, and I said, "Oh, I'm sorry, there is no elevator here." And they said, "Well, what are we gonna do?" But then they were like, "We can carry you down." I said, "No, you really can't. There's a lot of stairs. You need to wait for the other train to come so you can go through," because they were opening on both sides of the platform, and then you can go through, and then there's a really bad ramp, but at least you can get down. I just felt terrible, but otherwise you would have had to go to Main Street, come back, and go down the really terrible, non-accessible ramp. But what I noticed when I went there the last time coming from the railroad is they're putting down these pavers of some kind on the passerelle, which is that broken up boardwalk, because tennis is coming. So they're doing something to make sure that the tennis fans don't hurt themselves. Yeah.
Baseball gets second-class status.
Yeah. Nobody wears high heels to baseball games either.
I try not to.
Remember that time?
Alrighty, so, anything else? Does anybody have any old business to bring up? Sorry, Chris, I didn't see a hand up there. What you got?
That's okay, Jerry. The one thing I agree with Lisa about the station, that really it upsets me because people who want to go to a Met game or the tennis thing, it's like, they don't even have accessorized, but at the same time, something's gotta be done for a special shuttle, just to take them to Main Street Flushing, not just get the railroad, but also get the 7 train there. There's gotta be something for them during these game seasons. Also, because, we've been asking for Mets Willis Point to be fully accessible, and I know Edith was there, and it's just plain upsetting. But Jerry, going to the Yankee Stadium, there's one other advantage, that disability and seniors can still go there, even the Yankees are not there. They can still get cross-honored from the 153rd Yankee Stadium to Grand Central, and that's according to Harlem 125. So they do have an advantage there. So But I'm still, I love both teams because I'm a New Yorker and and a retired Special Olympic athlete, so I root for both.
I think
But
that
I'm-
the, Yankees elevator was out though, too.
Yeah, it's being replaced. That's elevator replacement, and they did, with the borough president and the elected officials, requested an accessible reroute, which Hugh actually was at the disability event beginning in July, and he went on the Metro North, I'm sorry, and LIRR, and he said it was actually easier for accessible reroute, but he has to remind Metro North, put more of those signs up. That's where we're seeing people ripping them down or damaging the screens, and it's not just Atlantic, it's all over. Maybe we should do a survey of what screens are damaged and how can we get them fixed or something like that in the near future.
Maybe why don't you send us an email about that?
Chris, yeah, can you follow that up with an email?
I was just gonna do that right now. I was just trying to turn on my mute button and then it was sticking a little. No problem. I'll do it in just a minute. Lisa, am I sending it to you or
You
who,
can wait, you can wait more than a minute, because it'll just zing us while we're here.
Well, no, I'm just asking,
About to adjourn.
Yeah.
am I sending it to Cara or am I sending it to Jessica or am I sending it to Lisa? And I'm doing an Andrew Albert moment here.
It doesn't matter.
Noted.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, is there anything in the chat? Okay, old business, new business?
I have one question. Have we had any real disasters with the tunnel closures, or is it moving pretty well?
I think that we did hear about one or two that, didn't Rob bring one up?
No disasters is, nothing crazy.
Well, it's been pretty good so far.
Knock on
Yeah.
wood.
However, Amtrak is not meeting their obligations at Metro North Territory, so, and access is not going as well as it should.
Alrighty then, so, I have a motion to adjourn at 5:38 PM.
Motion to adjourn.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you to everybody for
Yeah.
coming.
Larry, did you have your grandbaby yet? I mean, did your daughter
Good
have?
night. Good night, Cara. Nice to finally see you.